The seal weakens. The ancient gates of Castle Stormmore groaned as they swung inward, revealing a cobblestone courtyard lit by torches that cast dancing shadows against weathered stone walls. Mara clutched the amulet tighter as she and Finn followed Captain Torvin through the entrance, their worn farm boots echoing against stones that had witnessed 3,000 years of history. The courtyard bustled with activity despite the late hour. Soldiers in practical leather and mail hurried past, their weapons ready. Servants carried bundles of supplies toward the keep's main doors. The air smelled of horses, smoke, and the metallic tang of weapons being sharpened. "This way," Captain Torvin said, his hand resting on his sword hilt as he led them toward a tower that rose from the eastern wall. "The healer's chambers are in the old tower. If anyone can make sense of what you've found, it's Shamaz." Finn pressed closer to his sister. "Are we in trouble?" The captain's stern expression softened slightly. "No, boy, but what you've brought us, it's important, more important than you know." They climbed a spiral staircase worn smooth by countless feet over countless years. Torchlight flickered against walls carved with faded symbols that made the amulet pulse brighter in Mara's hand. The ancient voice whispered again, too soft to understand but urgent in tone. At the top of the stairs, Captain Torvin knocked on a heavy wooden door banded with iron. "Shamaz, it's Torvin. We have something you need to see." The door opened to reveal a man in his 60s with deep brown skin and silver-streaked black hair pulled back in a simple tie. His dark eyes held the calm intensity of someone who had seen both miracles and horrors. He wore robes of deep blue, marked with symbols of healing and protection, and his weathered hands bore the calluses of both a scholar and a warrior. "Captain," Shamaz said, his voice like aged wine, smooth and rich. "What brings you to my door at this hour?" His gaze fell to the children, then to the amulet in Mara's hand. His eyes widened. "Merciful ancestors, where did you find that?" "In the Whisperwood bog," Mara said, her voice steadier than she felt. "It was glowing. It talks to me, in words I don't understand." Shamaz stepped back, gesturing them inside. His chamber was part library, part workshop, part sanctuary. Shelves lined the walls, packed with ancient tomes, clay tablets, and carefully preserved scrolls. Dried herbs hung from the ceiling beams. A work table held various instruments, mortars and pestles, and what looked like healing salves. But what dominated the room was a large wooden table covered in maps and documents, many bearing the same strange symbols carved into the tower walls. "Let me see it," Shamaz said, moving to the table and clearing a space. "Carefully now." Mara placed the amulet on the cleared section. It pulsed brighter, and the whispers grew louder. Shamaz leaned close, his expression growing grave. He reached for a leather-bound tome on a nearby shelf, his movements deliberate and careful. "Captain, wake the king," Shamaz said quietly. "Tell him it's begun." Torvin's face went pale. "You're certain?" "Look at the markings," Shamaz said, pointing to the symbols etched into the amulet's surface. "These are Old Tongue. The language of the civilization that stood here before Stormmore was even a dream." He opened the tome, revealing pages covered in similar symbols alongside translations in modern script. "These aren't just decorations, they're warnings." The captain nodded grimly and left at a run. Finn tugged Mara's sleeve. "What's happening?" "Hush," she whispered, watching as Shamaz compared the amulet's symbols to his texts. The healer's finger traced the ancient script. "The seal weakens. The cycle turns. 3,000 years of darkness held at bay." He looked up at the children, his expression both kind and troubled. "You found something that should have stayed lost, young ones." This amulet was part of a sealing ritual performed 3 millennia ago, when a great evil threatened to consume the world. "The Dark Lord," Mara said, remembering the voice's words. Shamaz nodded slowly. "The texts call it many names. The Shadow King, the Devourer, the Ancient Hunger. Our ancestors, not just Stormmore's people, but the civilization that came before, fought a war that nearly destroyed the world. In the end, they couldn't kill it. They could only seal it away." "For 3,000 years, Finn whispered. Footsteps thundered on the stairs. The door burst open, and a man in his early 30s strode in, wearing practical leather armor over a simple tunic. His brown hair was cut short, his beard neatly trimmed. He moved with the controlled grace of a warrior, but his hazel eyes held intelligence and compassion. A sword hung at his hip. the weapon of a man who knew how to use it. "Shamaz," King Edric said, his voice carrying the weight of command, tempered by genuine concern. Torvin said. He stopped as his gaze fell on the amulet. "By the ancestors." "Your Majesty," Shamaz said, bowing his head slightly. "These children found it in the Whisperwood. It's authentic, Old Kingdom work, part of the original sealing." Edric moved to the table, studying the amulet with the focus of a tactician assessing a threat. "How long do we have?" "I don't know," Shamaz admitted. "The seals were designed to last forever, but forever is a promise no magic can truly keep. The fact that this amulet has surfaced, that it's active again." He gestured to the pulsing green light. "The barriers are weakening." The king's jaw tightened. He turned to Mara and Finn, and his expression softened. "You two did the right thing bringing this here. What are your names?" "Mara, Your Majesty," she said, dropping into an awkward curtsy. "And this is my brother Finn. We're from the farmlands south of here." "You're brave," Edric said. "Both of you. Many adults would have hidden this, or tried to sell it, or simply run from it. You brought it where it needed to be." He looked at Shamaz. "Can you study it? Learn what you can?" "I'll need time," the healer said. "And I'll need to consult the deep archives. There are texts down there that haven't been read in centuries. If the seals are failing, we need to understand why and how to reinforce them." "Do it," Edric ordered. Then he turned back to the children. "You've done Stormmore a great service. More than you know. Captain Torvin will see you safely home, and you'll be rewarded for your courage." "We don't need," Mara began. "Yes, you do," Edric interrupted gently. "I know the farmlands. I know how hard your families work just to survive. Accept this gift, not as payment, but as thanks from a grateful kingdom." He nodded to Torvin, who had appeared in the doorway. The captain produced a leather pouch that clinked with the unmistakable sound of coins. 50 gold royals, Edric said. "Enough to improve your farm, to ensure your family has what they need. You've earned it." Finn's eyes went wide. Mara felt tears prick her eyes. 50 gold royals was more money than their family would see in 5 years of good harvests. "Thank you, Your Majesty," she managed. "Thank you," Edric replied. "Now go home. Be with your family, and if you see or hear anything else unusual, anything at all, you come straight back here. The guards will know to let you through." Torvin led them back down the stairs and through the courtyard. As they passed through the gates, Mara looked back at the tower where the king and the healer still studied the amulet. She felt the weight of the gold in her hands, but also the weight of knowledge. Something ancient and terrible was waking up, and she and Finn had found the first sign of its return. The walk home seemed shorter than the journey there. Dawn was breaking over the eastern hills as they reached their farmhouse, where their mother waited anxiously by the door. "Mara, Finn," she rushed to embrace them. "Where have you been? I've been worried sick." "We went to the castle, Mama," Finn said. "We found something important." Mara held out the pouch of gold. "The king himself thanked us." Their mother's hands trembled as she took the pouch, feeling its weight. Tears streamed down her face. "What did you find?" "Something old," Mara said. "Something that needed to be found." Back in Castle Stormmore, King Edric stood at the window of Shamaz's chamber, watching the sunrise paint the kingdom in shades of gold and crimson. Behind him, the healer pored over ancient texts, comparing symbols and making notes. "How bad is it?" Edric asked quietly. "The worst," Shamaz replied without looking up. "The seals are failing faster than they should. Something, or someone, is accelerating the process. The amulet appearing in the Whisperwood isn't coincidence. That bog sits directly over one of the old sealing sites. Then we need to find the others," Edric said. "All the sealing sites. We need to know how many have failed, how many are failing, and how much time we have." "I'll need help," Shamaz said. "Lady Rose knows the old battlefields. Illyria can scout the ruins without being seen. And we'll need—" "I know," Edric interrupted. "We'll need everyone." He turned from the window, his expression hardening into the look of a king preparing for war. "Send word to Rose and Illyria. Tell them to come immediately, and send riders to the other lords. They need to know what's coming." "Some won't believe it," Shamaz warned. "Then we'll make them believe," Edric said. "We don't have the luxury of doubt. Not anymore." On the table between them, the amulet pulsed with green light, and its whispers grew louder. Speaking of darkness and cycles, and the inevitable return of something that should have stayed buried forever. The seal was weakening, and with it, the barriers that had protected the world for 3,000 years. The ancient evil was waking, and the kingdom of Stormmore stood at the threshold of a war that would determine whether humanity survived to see another dawn.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.